Welcome to Quick Course Digest. Today, we are diving into a topic that sounds, well, a little corporate and intimidating, right? Strategic planning. But forget all that. We're going to break it down step by step into a practical guide that you can actually use.
So, let me ask you this. How do you take that big, ambitious vision for your company and actually make it happen day to day? Because let's be real, there's usually a massive gap between the dream and the daily grind. A good strategic plan, well, that's the bridge. That's what connects your vision to reality.
And you know what I'm talking about, right? We've all seen them. The strategic plans that took months to make, cost a fortune, and now they're just gathering dust on a shelf. A very expensive doorstop. Yeah, we're not doing that today. Our goal is to create a living, breathing guide for your team. All right, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to walk through 6 key steps. First, what is strategic planning, really? Then we'll lay the foundation. Analyze where you stand right now, create a real action plan, map it all out so it makes sense, and then, the most important part, actually making it happen. Okay, first things first. Before we jump into the how, let's get crystal clear on the what. What exactly is strategic planning? Let's nail down a simple definition. Here's the key takeaway. It's not just some static document. Think of it as a living roadmap. Its entire reason for being is to guide every single decision your organization makes, all pointing toward one thing: creating real, ongoing value for everyone involved. Right, so before you can even think about where you're going, you have to know deep down who you are. A really powerful strategy, it always starts with a solid sense of identity. And that foundation is built on 3 pillars. You start with your values. These are the non-negotiables, the core principles. From there, you craft your vision. That's the big, exciting picture of the future you're building. And finally, you state your mission, which is basically how you're going to make that vision happen every single day. I absolutely love this analogy of the time travel pod. This is what separates a real vision from a bunch of fluffy, generic corporate speak. A great vision has to be so real, so tangible, that if you hopped in that time pod when you stepped out 2 years later, you could actually see it. You could touch it. You'd know for sure that you'd arrived. And this is a perfect example of that. A vision like, we want to be a market leader. I mean, what does that even mean? It's totally useless. But a vision like this one, grow from 3 retail locations to 25 in 2 years? Now that is powerful. Why? Because it's specific. It's measurable. Everybody in the company knows exactly what winning looks like.
Okay, so our foundation is solid. We know who we are and where we're headed. Now comes the hard part. It's time to get brutally honest about where we are right now. You can't chart a course to the future if you don't know your starting point on the map. And this is where the classic SWOT analysis comes into play. You've probably heard of it: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But here's a pro tip that makes a huge difference. Don't do a SWOT for your entire company. That's too broad. Instead, do it for a specific strategic objective, like that goal of expanding to 25 locations. It makes the whole thing way more focused and actually useful. The whole thing really boils down to one simple question. What can you control? Your strengths and weaknesses? Those are internal. That's your team, your tech, your money. You can work on those. But opportunities and threats? Those are external. That's the market, your competitors, the economy. You can't control them, so you have to be smart enough to react to them. All right, we've done our homework, we know who we are, and we've analyzed our position. So what now? Well, this is the fun part. This is where we turn all that analysis into an actual action plan. Every single thing we found in that SWOT, we're going to create a concrete goal for it. And the gold standard for setting goals is, of course, the SMART framework: specific, measurable, agreed upon, realistic, and time-bound. Now, you've probably seen this acronym a million times, but I really want to hammer home the M, measurable. Just think about it for a sec. If your goal doesn't have a number attached, how do you ever know if you've actually hit it? The answer is you don't. So now we have a list of goals. Great, but how do they all connect? Are they just a random wish list? No way. This next step is really the heart of the entire plan. We're going to connect all those goals into one single logical story. And we're going to do that by building something called a strategy map, using a fantastic framework known as the balanced scorecard. The balanced scorecard always starts at the top of the mountain, the financial perspective. Because let's face it, for a business to exist, it has to succeed financially. The question here is, what do our shareholders expect?
This is the ultimate objective, the why behind everything. It's that big financial goal, like increase profitability by 15%, that everything else we do has to support.
Okay, so how do we actually hit that big financial target? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. We do it through our customers. So the next layer down is the customer perspective. This forces us to ask, to make our financial goals happen, what value do we have to provide our customers? Are we going to be the fastest, the highest quality, the cheapest? This is where you directly link making customers happy to making money. And to deliver that amazing value to our customers, we've got to look in the mirror. You can't promise world-class service if your internal processes are a mess, right? So this next layer, the internal process perspective, is all about that. It asks, which specific things inside our company do we need to be absolutely brilliant at to deliver on our customer promise? And finally, we get to the very bottom, which is actually the true foundation of the whole thing, learning and growth. Think about it. To have world-class processes, you need a world-class team. This is where you invest in your people, your tech, and a culture that's always getting better. This right here, this is the engine that powers the entire strategy. And here's how it all stacks up. You've got to read it from the bottom to the top. It's a perfect cause and effect story. When your team learns and grows, your internal processes improve. When your processes improve, you create happier customers. And when you have happy customers, you get the financial results you're looking for. See? Every single piece is connected to the next. It's brilliant. Less than 48 hours. What in the world is that about? Believe it or not, that one simple number, it represents one of the most powerful strategic metrics on the planet. That's Amazon's key performance indicator, their KPI for their customer goal of faster service. See, a goal like faster service is kind of vague, but a metric, a KPI, like get the package from order to the customer's door in under 48 hours, that is crystal clear. It takes that big strategic idea and makes it real and measurable for every single person in the company. So, we've done all this incredible work. We have our foundation, our analysis, our SMART goals, and this beautiful strategy map. But a map is totally worthless if you don't actually follow it, right? This brings us to the final and honestly the most critical stage, execution. This is where so many brilliant plans fall apart. To make sure your plan succeeds, you need one thing above all else: absolute clarity on who owns what. A simple tool like the Rossi model can be a total game changer. For every single project in your plan, you figure out who's responsible, who's accountable, who needs to be consulted, and who just needs to be kept informed. Because a strategy is just a piece of paper until people are assigned to it. So as we wrap this up, let me leave you with one final thought. Look at your most important goals right now. Is it 100% clear who is ultimately accountable for getting them done? Because that clarity, that's the difference between a dusty binder and a real result.